Hello everyone, welcome to Average Joe Watch Reviews, where we do more than just reviews. If this is your first time on the channel, I want to welcome you. And also, if you could please do me a huge favor and click that like, which is the most charitable way to help support the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Tudor GMT Tudor Black Bay GMT Pepsi, the Pepsi Tudor GMT, whatever you want to say, whatever order you want to put it in. This is the watch we're talking about right here, guys. All right, this is a really, really cool watch with its imperfections. So if you stay tuned till the end, I will definitely share with you both the positives and the negatives on this episode of
Average Joe.
It's always time. Kind of one. All right, the Tudor Black Bay GMT Pepsi. Really, really cool watch. So I wanted to give you guys a perspective of this watch now that I've had it for a couple months now, and just give you guys some of my thoughts, some of the positives, some of the negatives. So I hope you stay tuned for that. Now, one of the positives I'd like to just really bring out right away is the fact that in some lights, this watch looks like a Coke, and then in others, it looks like a Pepsi. So, you know, it's got multiple looks depending on the light, which I find pretty cool. It doesn't have that vibrant ceramic, which to me, you know, I like the more subdued matte finish on this particular bezel. Definitely gives this watch more of its vintage vibes. All right, so when we measure the diameter of the crown itself, we're getting almost an 8mm in diameter here. Almost an 8mm crown for this, so very tactile, very easy to maneuver. You do got that coin edging done very nicely. Usually with the Black Bay, you'll get that color collar, like with the red bezel, you'll usually get a red collar here. With the GMTs, they don't do that. So when we take a look at the edges or the sides of the case, it is high polished, and as you can see, it is a fingerprint magnet, and it will get scratched up very easily. You do get a very pronounced chamfered edge there that goes all the way around there, as you can see, all the way up and down the case, and then you get vertical brushing on the top. So very nice contrast there with the finishing. Now, the elephant in the room is the fact that I have the bracelet right here. This is the Tudor bracelet. I have it on the Uncle Seiko Jubilee bracelet. This is actually a gift from my good friend Josh at the Town Watch. Shout out to you, buddy. Thank you so much. I think it looks better on this bracelet personally. Also, my goal was to preserve this bracelet here because it is indeed very, very prone to scratching. I've only worn this a handful of times, and even the scratches you see are the ones that I couldn't get out with the Cape Cod cloth. And you can even see some scratching and whatnot on the bracelet. It is the rivet style bracelet. It's a beautiful bracelet, guys, don't get me wrong. The maneuverability on this thing is great. I love the fact that they incorporate the Tudor shield in the clasp itself, and you also do get the ceramic ball bearings, which makes this super smooth to operate. You've got the Tudor Geneve there with the steel knocks, and as you can see, it's just so simple, so smooth, and that's because of those ceramic ball bearings. Now, you only get 3 micro adjust. I do have a 7-inch wrist, and the watch does fit me, the bracelet does fit me well, don't get me wrong. But there are a handful of people out there that have complained about this bracelet, not just because it's so prone to scratching, but because they have a hard time with even the adjustments. It's very uncomfortable for them. It's either too tight or too loose. For me, I actually got it just right. But as I said, I want to preserve it, and also the fact that I like it better on the Jubilee. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I'd like to hear your thoughts down below on that. This is a bi-directional bezel, and we're going to take a listen here. So, I mean, when it comes to backplay, it's really not even an issue. There really is no backplay. You can track a third time zone with the rotating bezel. Maybe I'll do a future video on how to do that, but just for our sakes today, I'm just going to show you how to at least change the GMT hand and also switch over the date, which is also, it could be a negative and something for you guys to really be aware of, that the dates on some of the early models actually became stuck or did not, or were caught in between, or they basically just didn't work, essentially. But as you can see, when we click it out one, you can actually move the hour hand independently, and what that'll do is it'll actually change the date. So you want to set your GMT hand first, so you click it out twice. And let's say, the other time zone you're going into is 1800 hours. Okay, so you've got that at 1800 hours. Great. You get that set, you click it in, and then you click out once. And let's just say it's almost 5 o'clock p.m. So you click it out once, and we're going to go around once, and then there we go, almost 5. Boom. Set it and forget it. So we're going to screw this back in. And again, super simple. We do get coin edging as well on that bezel. That bezel is actually slimmer than a typical bezel, and I think that's because the fact that we have such a thick case to fit this GMT movement. We take a look at the back of the watch, and we've got a typical, almost Rolex fashion back here. Very plain and simple, but you got Tudor, Gmt, Calibre, Manufacture, and then you got the kind of the coin edging again. Already kind of beat up in the back here, as you can see. That's probably because this is hitting it and whatnot. It's going to happen, guys. Use your watches. That's what I say. You don't have to baby them if you're going to wear them. You could always get these smoothed out. Now, the thing with these Jubilee bracelets is that if you are out in a dusty or dirty environment, the dirt is going to kind of go through the bracelet, more so than a typical bracelet. So just a heads up on that. But on the wrist, it's a 7-inch wrist. As you can see, it fits very nicely. The Jubilee bracelet, just want to go back to that for a second, and just show you that we do have 4 adjustments as opposed to the 3, and this one does taper as well. So we're gonna go from, this should be at around 22 millimeter, and we're gonna taper down to right around an 18 millimeter. So a nice taper there. When we look at the stock bracelet, it does taper down to right around an 18 as well. Okay, so both have very similar tapers. I'm going to show you, since this is COSC certified, I'm going to show you how this runs on the time grapher. All right, and one final thing before I give you guys my final thoughts, let's show you guys what this looks like in the dark with the Super Luminova applied by Tudor. And as you can see, this thing does glow very brightly. Not as bright as some of those micro brands out there though, but it definitely is more than acceptable, and this will last through the night, so no issues there. So let's flip the camera around and give you guys some final thoughts. Alright, so firstly, the positives. I love the vintage vibes of this watch. It's timeless. This is going to be a watch that's going to totally be in style no matter how old I get. This is definitely true to the classic Pepsi GMT look. even from the Rolex Master 2. I love the subdued blue and red colors. They're not very vibrant, okay? Also, we got a true GMT, you know, and it also actually tracks 3 different time zones with your unidirectional bezel, okay? You also get the true GMT hand, which is done in red. Love the contrast there. And it's just a good looking watch. So we get into the negatives. The negatives, the fact that it is top heavy, it's very thick, okay? When it comes to thickness, we're looking at right around a 15 millimeter thickness, okay? This is a 41 millimeter watch with a 15 millimeter thickness. So you're definitely not gonna be able to fit this under any kind of dress cuff. But it is also going to be top heavy, especially if you have like a smaller wrist and you put this on a strap that's not, you know, Tudor or even like this one here. It is well balanced on these particular bracelets, but if you put it on a lighter strap, you may have that top heaviness, which will make the watch possibly slide depending on your wrist size. The other negative I mentioned earlier was the bracelet. It doesn't fit snugly on all wrists, and this is a total scratch magnet. But the positive is that the clasp is one of the smoothest clasp I've ever was able to manipulate with this ceramic ball bearings. I do love the Tudor logo that is embodied in the design here. So beautiful job there. Another negative you could say is the size. I mean, it is a 41. This is definitely larger for wrists that are less than, I would say, 6 3/4. Guys and gals with wrists that are smaller are going to have a little bit of trouble wearing this because, again, it's so thick and top heavy, and just even the diameter is pretty large. So, but for me, I like bigger watches. And this does fit like a larger watch, guys. It's, you know, it definitely makes a presence on the wrists. All right. The other negative is something that I'm blessed not to have is the date wheel. On some of these watches, early models, the date would get stuck and not work or get caught in between, and the date just simply wouldn't work. So, you know, we got a brand new movement, in-house mover from Tudor, and there was a couple bugs that they seem to have worked out. So if you do get one of these watches, whether it's brand new or used, I would definitely scroll through the date and make sure it clicks over without a problem. But the Tudor warranty will definitely cover that for sure. I love the 70-hour power reserve. You could put this down on a Friday, pick it up on Monday, and the thing is already running. It does save you in regards to setting the GMT hand, which can be cumbersome if you're going to be setting it every time you want to put your watch down for another watch for a couple days. You do get that 70 hours, which is great. Another big positive is the fact that you are getting that in-house movement. It totally is an absolutely just pleasure to have a in-house COSC certified watch in your collection. When you have a watch that does have that in-house movement, it does seem to bring more value to the watch itself and give the watch a more respect and accolades in the watch community. You know, I've had I've seen a couple watches that have come by that, you know, people say, well, you know, it might be a Breitling, but it has, you know, it doesn't have an in-house movement. Or you'll hear, you know, of a brand that, you know, there's past Tudors that didn't have COSC certification. So we're getting in-house and COSC certification, which makes this a heavy-hitting watch. And also the fact that it's actually reminiscent of the Rolex GMT Master 2, paying homage to its older brother. This is a hot watch, guys, and I highly recommend it. That's my 2 cents, guys. You can keep the change, and always remember that there's always time to be kind to one another. Please take care of each other, and I'll see you guys next time on Average Joe Watch Reviews. God bless, my friends.